Welcome to Don't Quote Me on That. One day we will have an intro, but today is not that day.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Kalina, and welcome back to Don't Quote Me on That, where we kind of talk about movies. As you can see, and I use the word see because if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can also physically see. This is a little bit of a different episode. So if you guys are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever else, there's no visual. You can check us out on YouTube this week, more than any other week, because there's a video to go along with it. Basically, as you can see, my usual co-host Eleanor isn't here, so I decided I'd do something a little different because I got some life-changing news today, and I really thought the best way to address it was to make jokes and rank some people. So, as I'm sure you saw from the title, also I'm just going to hop right into this because I don't want to be here forever. I don't think you want to be here forever either. So, today I found out that my first crush, my first not even celebrity crush, my first crush ever got engaged. And while I knew it was going to happen, being confronted physically on my Instagram with that knowledge, totally different thing. My first crush ever was Leo Howard of Kicking It from Disney Channel fame. I know he's done some other projects now that people probably know him for better, what was he on? Vampire Diaries? He had some, not Vampire Diaries, whatever the Vampire Diaries spin-off is with their kids and the teacher, or kids and the teacher, he's in that one. I don't know what it's called. It's not the originals. Don't ask me. The moral of the story is I watched him on Kicking It and I love him, and he got engaged today, and I'm very miserable about this. So I'm going to work through my pain and work through my emotions. And the way I've chosen to do this is I've collected some Disney and Disney XD actors, male actors that I watched. I only picked shows that I watched, so I'm gonna date myself and you guys are gonna figure out how old I am from this. So I only picked shows that I watched and picked a couple of the actors from them, and we're gonna rank them. I've got a little tier list here. If this works correctly, you will be listening to this episode and you're gonna see the tier list now. My little face will go somewhere else. So I figured we just hop right into it. I decided to go with photos. Originally I was doing one that was just names, and then I realized I don't actually know their names, I just know their faces. So we're doing photos to help you out too. So I'll get right into it. And everyone, let me know if you agree with my rankings. I agree with my rankings, obviously. I think I know my rankings for most of these off the bat, but we'll see what comes up. And we won't start with Leo. We all know where Leo's going, but we won't start with him. So first here we got, also the photos I picked photos of when they were in Disney Channel, because while I might think they're hot now, that might not necessarily be the case that I thought they were hot then, just because of their Disney Channel sort of vibe. So, starting with Joe Jonas. This might, I don't know, upset. I was very much a Nick girl growing up, okay? I like Nick Jonas. That was my Jonas brother. I don't know what it was about him. Maybe I was gonna say the curly hair. I don't know. I was a Nick girl through and through. Could not convince me Joe was the better one, because that was always the debate. And I always felt bad for Kevin, because no one was ever team Kevin, you know what I mean? But anyway, we've got Joe Jonas first. All that being said, I love Joe now. I think he's great. Not that I didn't like him before, but I think he's great now. But unfortunately, at the time, if we're talking about Joe Jonas while he was on Disney Channel, Camp Rock Joe Jonas, he's gonna have to go. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, a B. I couldn't, it was I think the scarves, I thought he was cute, but the way they styled him wasn't great. Whereas to me, Nick Jonas was so cute that no matter what they did and what they put him in, I thought he was great. And then he had that song in Camp Rock 2 about introducing me, that one, right? He talks about how he doesn't like cheese, only on pizza. Love that guy. Okay, cutie patootie. I don't know. And maybe it was the Camp Rock thing, because Joe Jonas was kind of this arrogant sort of, the main guy. I never liked the main guy. I was like an underdog sidekick sort of gal. So anyway, Joe Jonas, B tier. Sorry, love the guy now. This is Jake. Oh, Jake from Hannah Montana. Back to whose sides were we picking? I was a Jessie girl, and I just learned recently, I don't know if anyone else has seen this, but I saw on TikTok, because where else do young 20-year-olds get their information, that Disney Channel aired 2 different versions of the episode where she had to decide between them, and in one she chose Jake and in one she chose Jessie. And that blew my mind. And if I remember correctly, in the version I saw, she chose Jake. I remember being upset, but I had like gaslit myself essentially into saying that wasn't true, because now when I see versions of it online, she's picking Jesse, and I was like, I don't remember like being excited at the end of that episode. So like, but maybe I just misremembered it. But clearly I didn't. The version I saw was she had picked Jake, not Jesse, and I was Team Jesse all the way. But I think now that we're older, more people are coming to the Team Jesse team. Yeah, he was kind of like the bad boy. Had like that, I don't know, it was the dark hair, to be honest with you, but he kind of had like that bad boy sort of vibe. So I was Team Jesse through and through. But Jake, on the other hand, nice fella, you could take him home to meet your mom. Unfortunately, he's going in C. Nothing wrong with him, he's fine. I'm not a blonde lady, and then also the photo I have from him here, the shirt is just not doing him any favors, I'll be completely honest. So we're gonna go C tier for good old Jake from Hannah Montana. Next, we have Billy Unger, I think is this fella's name, from Lab Rats. So he played like the smart brother on Lab Rats. And I never like watched Lab Rats consistently or religiously. Like I might have watched like Kicking It or like Hannah Montana. Like I saw those regularly and I wanted to watch them. But Lab Rats like was kind of like when I was phasing out of watching Disney and Disney XD, and I would like catch it, and if it was on, I would watch it because it was fine. But like I wasn't going out my way to watch it. I think that was kind of like the turning point for me in terms of watching Disney. And funnily enough, I think about the time my brother started to watch or like started to get into Disney. I don't think he watched Lab Rats, but like that was sort of that kind of, if we want to talk about generational gaps and all that. So this is Billy Unger. He played the smart one. I think his name was Chase. Don't quote me on that. Billy Unger, so hot now. Oh my goodness. He just like classic rock sort of vibe, long hair, mustache, like great. But at the time, again, he was playing the smart brother, so he kind of like had this nerdy look to him. So we're gonna have to go with him. I don't know, I'm kind of debating between B and C. I'm gonna say B just because he gained some brownie points for being in a show like Lab Rats where he had to like do some like martial arts sort of physical stuff. I think that kind of bumped him up. If he wasn't doing that and if he like just played the smart brother who stayed at home and did nothing, he would stay in C tier. But I'll bump him up to B, giving him some brownie points for that. Now this is, I can't remember this character's name, but I remember this actor's name, and that is not the actor's name. I'm sorry, I don't remember the actor's name either. I think his name might be Brandon. But long story short, he was one of the guys on So Random, which was another show I kind of watched towards like tapering off the end of my Disney time. Another one, very cute now. They weren't doing him any favors when they dressed him either. And purely, I don't have much to say because I didn't watch So Random that religiously. The only thing I really remember from So Random is the whole will they, won't they, enemies to lovers sort of plot they had going with Demi Lovato and Sterling Knight, who I have on this list a little later. But purely for the outfit, he's gonna have to get bumped down to C. I'm sorry, Brandon, if that is your name. C or tier. This next one, loved this guy. He was on Shake It Up. That was the show, right? With Zendaya and Bella Thorne. Shake It Up. His name's like Rashawn Fagan, I think. I remember thinking he was just, I thought they were the best part of the show. Him and the guy who played his best friend. They were like the two little like sidekicks, not sidekicks, but like the friends of whatever Zendaya and Bella Thorne's characters are called, Rocky and Cece, I think. Rocky and Cece. They were their friends. Rashawn Fagan, cutie patootie. I could be wrong, but I think he's in Camp Rock. If he's not in Camp Rock, it's a guy who looks kind of like him, but I think it's him in Camp Rock also. If it's him, he sings this song that I think is the best Camp Rock song to exist. It's Hasta La Vista. If you haven't heard that, please listen to it. I know I mentioned Introducing Me by Nick Jonas earlier, but Hasta La Vista goes harder than every single Camp Rock song ever written. Fight me about it. And Mr. Rashawn is gonna go A tier because I was gonna put him in B, but I put him in A because, wow, now listen, do I think this style is good? No, but I think out of all of them, for the time they were in, he had the most style, he had the coolest outfits. They were loud and they clashed, and it was a lot to take in visually, but he looked the best somehow still. Like, it suited his character, you know? All right. Oh, like we said, Mr. Sterling Knight. Sterling Knight and Sunny with a Chance. Also, I tried to stick to TV shows for this list, or like for the guys I picked to rank. So no movies. So I'm talking specifically Sterling Knight in Sunny with a Chance. Didn't like the fella. He was rude. He like only redeems himself at the end. And like, I know that was the whole point, but like, but when I met him versus met the other guy from Sunny with a Chance that we put in C tier, I already didn't like him. So like, by the time I warmed up to him, I was already like, well, you're ranked lower. So unfortunately, Sterling Knight's gonna have to go in D tier. I know that this is shocking. Now, if we were talking Sterling Knight in that movie Starstruck, I might bump him up to A. Have you guys seen the little photo of him in like the little bucket hat? So cute. Very much like, and I know that was kind of like enemies to lovers too, and he wasn't a great guy in the beginning, but like, it was a lot better. Obviously it moved a lot faster because it was a movie versus a TV show that had seasons, but like, he was just like a little bit endearing in that one, you know, whereas he was not endearing in Sunny with a Chance. I'm sorry. Like, he got there, but it took a minute, which was the point, but it took a minute. So D tier for Sterling Knight, Sunny with a Chance, Sterling Knight. Sorry, homie. Next we got this guy from Pair of Kings, which I liked that show. I don't remember anything that happened in it, but I thought it was a really fun show, and it had a really good theme song. Like, I still sometimes will get the theme song stuck in my head and have to go look it up. But like, the premise of the show was so silly, and also the fact that they had like a black guy and a white guy playing brothers that were kings. I just thought, I really liked how they made that work and then didn't discuss it too much, so it made sense. Like, if you thought about it too long, like, even if you, like, I think they structured it in a way that, like, if you thought about it for a while, it still kind of made sense, but like, it did what it needed to do. The backstory like covered the bases for the plot to proceed, and then they never really like touched on it too much, which was nice. Anyway, he played one of the brothers. I'm pretty sure this actor's name is Doc Shaw. But I remember, like, this might be like, you know, hindsight's 2020, but to me, he feels very young. So like, I want to rank him lower. I don't know if I remember feeling that way when I watched the show, but like, to me, he feels, I don't know, he feels young. I don't know. I think I'm gonna put him in D tier just because and also, I don't remember much about Pair of Kings. It was him and then Mitchell Musso initially, I believe, and then all of a sudden they had a third brother who we'll discuss later. So in terms of out of like the main characters in Pair of Kings, I was more a Mitchell Musso's king, which don't ask me any of their names, but I was more on Mitchell Musso's side than Doc's. Sorry, Doc. So, what's up, Doc? I had to. So anyway, we'll move on. This is the other guy from, that's not Sterling Knight, from So Random, and these So Random boys are just getting the short end of the stick here, because I'm also going to put him in D tier. I don't have much to say about him, except, excuse me, I just remember this. He does the Socks with Sandals song, and while I think Socks with Sandals, or at least at the time, I thought Socks with Sandals was an abomination, especially like socks and Crocs. That Socks with Sandals song goes harder than it needs to. You know what I mean? It's way better than it has any business being. So, D tier, but I will give him props for the Socks with Sandals song. He hits an S. I was gonna say I'm surprised we don't have any S tier yet, but I'm really not. I'm surprised I have so many people so far down, but like, also I've met myself, so it'll get better, I think, as time goes on. As I say that, I'm gonna put Kevin Jonas in D tier. No fault to Kevin Jonas. He was just like, you know how they jokingly call Frankie Jonas the Bonus Jonas, which is like, his horrible and terrible. He has his own identity. But like, within the three Jonas brothers, Frankie Jonas just like has never really entered the conversation. Not Frankie, I'm sorry, Kevin. Kevin never really entered the conversation in terms of like, who's the best Jonas brother. You know what I mean? Now, I know a few Kevin girls, or some people would stick up for him, but like, sometimes it kind of started to feel like more for his sake than they actually believed it or meant it. So unfortunately, Kevin's gonna have to go down in D tier. Not very memorable. He was there, although, you know, I do love an older brother. I'm an older sibling myself, so like, older sibling solidarity. However, you're gonna have to go in D tier. Kevin Jonas, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think the people in my neighborhood forgot 4th of July is over because they've been popping off fireworks. Well, first of all, they were popping off fireworks from like Sunday night, and it's still going. Now this is an interesting debate, because in recent times, these two brothers that I'm about to discuss, public perception has shifted on one of them very greatly, and the other one, which is Dylan Sprouse, has not. In fact, I think people think he's better than he was before. Growing up, I had mixed feelings about Zach and Cody, because Zach, who Dylan Sprouse played, was like, you know, he was like the rebel, he was the adventurous one, he was the bad boy, yada yada yada. He stressed me out, okay? Unfortunately, I was very much a Cody, and in my childhood, I was very like book focused, a little bit of a nerd, didn't have a lot of friends, didn't want to like step too far out of my comfort zone and do anything exciting or potentially dangerous. So Zach stressed me out to no end. However, I did always think he was the cuter brother, so I want to put him in B, but because of this swoopy hair, again, no fault of his own, he's gonna have to go in C. I'm not a swoopy hair lady. I prefer brunettes. I'm sorry. Cole Sprouse. Didn't find him as cute, but I was, like I said, I was more of a Cody growing up. But again, swoopy hair. And like they have the same face, but they don't have the same face, you know what I mean? And I think because, like, I don't think it's fair for me to put Cole Sprouse in C tier, because I think Zach is so much cuter, but like a long shot. But like he doesn't really belong in D. But I'm gonna have to put him in D just because it doesn't make sense for me to put him next to his brother, because I think his brother is like way better. Especially now. Dylan Sprouse now. Robert Palvin knows what she's doing, okay? She has won. Sorry. Now, we got Jesse from Hannah Montana. I was a Jesse girl. We discussed this already. Love him. Love a bad boy. Love a brunette. He's going A tier. I don't need to explain myself. You all get it. Now, the light of my life. Leo Howard from Kicking It. And it's really interesting because I don't even know if I thought he was cute when he looked like this in this photo I have. I just really, I had a crush on him for some reason. Because I can appreciate that as the seasons went on and he got older and grew into his looks or whatever, he got 10 times hotter, that I was like, I don't even know why I would have thought he was cute in the first place. But now every time I look at him, it's kind of a tender place in my heart. I always hold a soft spot for Leo Howard. You know how people talk about their first love, they'll always love them? I will always love Leo Howard. He was my first love. So Leo Howard, sorry, I didn't click that properly. Leo Howard has to go S tier. He's the reason I'm making this video. He's the reason I made this tier list. Just no one can come close, you know? But Rashawn and Jesse from Hannah Montana are trying. Okay, so Adam Hicks, third pair of Kings brother. And again, I'm talking specifically about them in TV shows. So this is Pair of Kings Adam Hicks, but he was in he sang to Terminate. He was in Lemonade Mouth. Banger movie, banger soundtrack. I don't believe in bringing things back just for the sake of nostalgia. If they were they're doing a Zoe 101 reboot, or Big Time Rush is back. Which is a bad example because I think Big Time Rush did make fun music, and it seems like they're they genuinely want to be a band together again and not just doing it because they're oh, we don't have anything else to do, but this is the way to make money. But I think Lemonade Mouth would make if they brought Lemonade Mouth back as a band, not even a reboot movie or anything, but just brought the band back to make music, I think that would go really well. But I'm talking specifically Adam Hicks, Pair of Kings, Adam Hicks. When he showed up as the mysterious third brother, somehow. I love this family. They had a black son, they had a white son, they had a white son that had red hair. They were just covering all of their bases, okay? I think if we let that show go on for more seasons, we would have hit all of the demographics eventually. But specifically Pair of Kings, Adam Hicks, I think I'm gonna put him in C tier. I don't have any strong thoughts, but I feel like D. Well, see, now I feel kind of bad about all the people I put in D tier. I'm going to move Starlight Knight actually up to C tier also, because I can. It's my world, I'm making the rules. Eleanor's not here to stop me. Next, This is Pair of Kings / Hannah Montana, Mr. Mitchell Musso, which well, Eleanor, if you're listening to this, I put him in here just for you. Eleanor loves Mitchell Musso. I thought he was fine. I never had any strong thought. I never like had a crush on him when I watched Hannah Montana or anything else. But like I said, he does do the Pair of Kings theme song, and it's really good. But he never like, I don't think he ever like made it, quote unquote, made it as like a Disney star. Like, you know how like they would like the Jonas Brothers, like they were like Disney spokespersons. Mitchell Musso never really was in that same sense. Never really took off to that level, I don't think. But I like Mitchell Musso. He wasn't like so much a bad boy, but I do think he had like a little bit of an edgier vibe than some other like Disney characters and of the time. Maybe I'm just saying that now because right now he's wearing a black hoodie, but like I do think they gave him more like, I don't know, his outfits were awful. They were giving him like these weird cargo shirts and big t-shirts and stripes and mixing patterns, but whatever. Yada yada yada. Moral of the story is I'm putting Mitchell Musso in B tier because I like him. I liked Oliver on Hannah Montana. It was a good vibe all around. I never found him annoying. I really appreciated on Hannah Montana that they didn't like force him into being the love interest for Hannah, because I think it's very easy to do that, especially in times like that. Like the main character needs a love interest and it's always got to be the best friend. So like I really liked that it was like Lily and Oliver. I thought that was cute. Next, this fella. Oh, this is another lemonade mouth fella, but I'm talking dog with the blog. I don't know his name. I think his name's Blake. Don't quote me on that. But I think this actor's name is Blake. In Dog with a Blog, he was also in Lemonade Mouth. I have a type. He kind of checks most of the boxes for said type. He's going A tier. In Dog with a Blog, I didn't love him. And also, I didn't like this show. I thought it was stupid. And this is also towards the end of my time watching Disney Channel. So I never like watched it religiously. But I thought he was cute. So like if it was on the TV or my brother was watching, I would like stop in the room and look because he's adorable. But like he also kind of plays like the dinky guy, which like worked in Lemonade Mouth, but I don't love that as a trope, especially not like in TV shows, because I think it's just like played into way too much. Himbo, that's it. But in Lemonade Mouth, I think it was okay. So A tier for him, because just off looks alone, not vibes. I was not loving the vibes. Okay, we're going back to shake it up with this fella here. Do not know this man's name. Don't ask me. But they were those two European, I don't remember where in Europe they're from, but European siblings. And there are those two European siblings in Shake It Up. So he was the brother. And I figured I threw the other two guys from Shake It Up in here, so it would be unfair to not include my man, the blonde fella. I think this is kind of in the realm of outfits that were bad, but still were somehow better than all the other outfits everyone else at the time had on. But I'm gonna put him in C because he was annoying. That's mostly because he was annoying, and he wore really shiny clothes, and like while they looked good, I'm not a shiny clothes person. Nick Jonas is going A. We've discussed my love for Nick Jonas. I still love Nick Jonas to this day. My mom does not understand why I love Nick Jonas so much, and every single time I talk to her about him, I'm like, she'll say he's short, and I'm like, God knew that if he made him too tall, that would just be unfair to everyone else. Can you imagine? It's like Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars had to be short. Can you imagine the power Bruno Mars would hold if he was tall? Now, Bruno Mars is in a whole other realm above Nick Jonas, not comparing them at all, but Nick Jonas just couldn't be tall. It wouldn't be fair. And one of my favorite stories about Nick Jonas and my parasocial relationship that I have with him is when I went to see the new Jumanji, the ones they do with The Rock and Kevin Hart for the first time. I didn't know Nick Jonas was in the movie, so when he popped up, I thought he was just doing a little cameo, and I was happy because I love him. And then he was there for the rest of the movie, and like, I like those movies, and that just sold it for me. Okay, that did me in. So anyway, everyone go watch Jumanji. I also really appreciate, we've talked about this before, Eleanor and I, on the show, but like I really appreciate when they do like an updated version of a movie. It's not a sequel, but it's also not a reboot, because like sometimes you don't need to. And like it was a sequel in the sense that it was the same game, but they weren't trying to make these unnecessary, very emotional connections to the original, because the original is fine as it is. It's great. So I like that they were doing their own thing, and I like that they didn't take themselves too seriously. I like watching those Jumanjis. I would watch the old one or the original one for a different vibe than I would watch the new one for, you know? Okay, next fella I have here is Jason Earls, I think his name is. I don't know why I'm blanking on his last name. I always know it, but I threw him in here also because I don't ever think he was purported to be a love interest. Like he was, you know, he was playing Hannah Montana's brother. So like, I only put him in here because he was in Hannah Montana. He was also in Kicking It, so it just felt kind of unfair to leave him out. Also, I could have sworn, I'm looking now, I could have sworn I put the other fellas from Kicking It in here, but I didn't. But I'll be honest with you, I think Mateo would have gotten B tier, and then the other two would have gotten C tier. So my C tier is getting stacked up, so I need the space anyway. Jason Earls, I don't want to put him in D, but like he always played the annoying brother, and at the time I had a little brother who I thought was annoying, and so like I just think in terms of sister solidarity, I gotta put him in D. Also, I don't know if anyone realized this because I'm always shocked when I remember, but Jason Earls was like 30 when he was doing Hannah Montana and playing her brother. So like, and then he went on Kicking It and was playing their mentor, but he still wasn't like much older than his Hannah Montana character, I don't think. So he's been playing a lot younger for a while, but he looks, you know, it works. He looks good for it, so. Okay, so this guy is the last fellow from Shake It Up. He was the other half of the friend duo. His name's Adam, possibly. And now I think about it, he reminds me of Adam G. Savani from the Step It Up movies, and he plays Moose in the Step It Up movies, and I love those movies. That and like Kicking It were like two things I like genuinely went out of my way and like put effort into consuming and enjoying when I was younger. So I'm gonna put our boy Adam here, I think in C tier. Oh, maybe B. I don't know, because the outfits were horrible, but like the vibes were good. I'm gonna put him in B. The vibes were good. The outfits weren't entirely his fault, obviously. I mean, not they weren't his fault, but like I did factor in outfit in terms of ranking for the other characters, so I have to factor it in for him, but I think the vibes outweigh the awful outfits. All right, last two fellers we have here are from Lab Rats. So this guy played like the strong but dumb brother. Himbo, big time himbo energy. I never got the appeal. He's cute, but like, I think I thought Billy Unger, who played his brother, was cuter, so I'm gonna have to go C tier just because I can't put them in the same. And then the guy who played the main fella in the show, I think the main character's name was Leo, but I don't remember the actor's name. But this guy here, I always remember thinking he seemed really young to me because I think he was like the stepbrother of them, or the dad's stepson. So I'm gonna put him D just because to me he was very much child. Wasn't like, you know, wasn't in the realm of possibility of how cute is he? Child. So this is my ranking. I'm not surprised. Honestly at first I thought I was gonna put Nick Jonas in the S tier, but I'm not surprised I only put Leo Howard in the S tier because he'll always have a place in my heart. The S tier of my heart. So yeah, we got Leo Howard in S tier. Then we've got Rashawn from Shake It Up, Jesse from Hannah Montana, the fella from Dog with a Blog, and then Nick Jonas all in A tier. If you want to know my type, kind of look at those two rows. You'll get a feel for it. B tier, we got Nick Jonas, the smart brother from Lab Rats, Mitchell Musso, and then the other friend from Shake It Up, Adam. C tier, Jake from Hannah Montana. I almost said Jake from State Farm. Jake from State Farm, honestly, would probably be S tier. The new Jake from State Farm. You know the one. The new Jake from State Farm. But C tier, Jake from Hannah Montana. One of the guys from That's So Random, Dylan Sprouse, Adam Hicks, Sterling Knight, the blonde fella from Shake It Up, and the himbo brother from Lab Rats. And then D tier, we've got, sorry, my eye is itchy, dude. D tier, we've got one of the OG brothers from Pair of Kings, the other fella from That's So Random, Kevin Jonas, Cole Sprouse, Jason Earls. Yeah, Jason Earls. I was gonna say Jason Isaacs. That's a totally different dude. And then the main character from Lab Rats. Honestly, if I could, I would put Cole Sprouse now. He wouldn't even make, he'd just be so far at the bottom, he wouldn't even make the list because we've all seen clips from that interview and heard stories about him. But anyway, thanks for joining me. Hopefully next week when I'm back, Eleanor will be here with me and we'll have some nice, intelligent, not at all superficially based things to share with you. And you can listen and you don't have to tune in to see my beautiful face or my beautiful chart that I made here. So let me know if you agree with me. If you want me to do this again, I totally will. I'll probably drag Eleanor in on it too. So let me know if there's any guys I missed that you want me to do. Or I can do a girls one. I'm open to that. The first girl that came to mind to make a tier list about was Kim Possible. And I know she's not like a real person, but I would make a list on her. I'll tell you right now, she's probably going to go S tier because it's Kim Possible. Anyway, call me, beat me if you want to reach me. And you can do that at Instagram at Don't Quote Us on That. And TikTok also at Don't Quote Us on That. Or Twitter at Don't Quote Us 27. So check us out there. Comment down below. Like, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. And I will not see you, but I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening and don't quote me on that. One day we'll have an outro, but it's not today.